Hi everyone, today I want to show you a video with a quilting card technique, or a quilting technique for making cards I should say. I found this on a YouTube video by Lisa Freeman. So her original card, I've copied one of them here. She used the Blackberry Beauty papers for one of the cards and then the Eden's Garden papers for the other card, and this is almost a straight copy of her card that she did, but I've put my papers in different places. And this is one I've used using the absolutely gorgeous Expressions in Ink 12x12 Designer Series paper, speciality paper from the annual catalogue, which I absolutely love. The Let's Celebrate Everything is from the Eden's Garden stamp set, and then it says Happy Birthday, which is a stamp from the Expressions in Ink stamp set. So I'm going to stick with the Expressions in Ink Designer Series paper because I really like it. And I'm using some polished pink cardstock. So this cardstock actually measures, I've done different measurements to Lisa. So this is 10 3/4 by 4 1/8 because American cardstock is 4 1/4 is half of the cardstock. I've cut it at 4 1/8 by, once again, I'll just repeat that, 10 3/4. You score one line at 4 1/8 along the long side, and the other line, if I remember rightly, is at 5 1/4. So that means that when you close it in like this, that will close exactly down that side. So you need 2 pieces of white cardstock, which are 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. Cheaper, you can use just any old copy paper cardstock for the front of the card because you're going to cover it with Designer Series paper, but use top quality Stampin' Up basic white cardstock for the inside of the card. So I'll put that to one side. So use your grid paper. I've actually marked on mine either side of the 3 7/8 is just within this square. So then get your ruler, draw a line straight down the middle there, turn the piece of cardstock around and draw a line straight down the middle there, and then you're good to go. Probably because we're involving gluing, then it's good to have some Tombow handy. So you will need a 1-inch square of gold cardstock for the centre, and then you'll need 1/2-inch strips of Designer Series paper, and then you'll need a strip here which is 1 inch by 3 7/8 inch gold cardstock, which will be going on there. And then I've chosen Old Olive, which is 3/4 inch by 3 5/8 to go on top of that. And I've embossed it using the Parisian embossing folder. So let's get cracking. First of all, take your Tombow and stick the 1-inch square on the centre of your white piece, and make sure that it's all 4 points are touching the lines, like so, and then you've got it bang in the centre. Okay, so that's the first part. Then choose your Designer Series papers. I'm going to go for pinks in the middle, and then I'm going to go with a piece with some Old Olive, I think it is, there. So first of all, we're going to start with a little 1/2-inch strip going along here, and it's going to go down there. So I'm just going to put the glue all the way down there. You line it up, hope you can see that, you line it up with the one edge of the 1-inch gold square, like that. And then you turn it, and you're going to put some Tombow along here. And you're going to take a second piece, and then line that up like that. And then you're going to turn it again. Take your third piece, and I've got a piece there. I just think this is so pretty, this paper with the gold flecks in it. You could use gold leaf to do a similar thing on another type of paper probably, but this just looks, what one friend would say would be palatial. So there we go, that's your first round done. Now you can actually do a whole section at a time if you want to. That's what Lisa did, and I think it's a pretty good idea. So I'm going to get my pieces with the Old Olive in. I'm going to do that bit next, and then I'm going to take a piece here. I'm just going to cut that straight I'm going to put that next to it like that, and then I'm going to take a little piece of the pink. Hopefully I've got some spare here, and I'm just going to put that once again there, and then I'm just going to put a contrasting colour in the corner, just a little bit of that green, because that gives a nice contrast. That's one section completed. Now I'm going to turn it, and I want to have similar papers, so I'm just going to find some of that old olive. I've got some here. Just cover this section with the Tombow. So I'm going to have the old olive colour first, and then I'm going to have this multicolour piece which doesn't have gold on it, but that's okay. And then I'm going to have another of the pink pieces, and then I'm going to put a spare piece of this one just on the corner. In fact, I'm going to use, if I just remind myself, that was that one, so I'm just going to put a little bit of this on the corner, like that. We're going to cut the scrap pieces off, which then can be used again. In fact, I'm going to cut them off now, because otherwise I won't have enough. So you turn it the other way round, and I have one pair of paper snips for cutting where there's glue that's going to probably get on them, and I have another pair that's for cutting ribbon, and I have a third pair that's really for embroidery and things like that, for fabric, and that doesn't go anywhere near glue, because I like to have a pair that's, I mean, amazingly, this pair I've had for 10 years and they're still sharp. That's pretty amazing for a pair of scissors. Okay, so now I'm just going to pick up another piece of the first one. I'm going to go for the green, so I'm going to just cut it straight across like that. Really relaxing, these cards, actually, and a wonderful way of using up leftovers of designer series paper. Well, you know when you've got all those little scraps and you really can't bear to throw them away because they're so pretty, and this is a wonderful way to use them up. The only thing is you do have to straighten off like that. So I'll put that piece on, and then I'm just going to put a pink piece on, and then I'm going to find a little bit of that green wherever it is. See if I can find it. Here we go. Just going to cut that off and put a little bit more glue on there, and then just stick that on like that. Okay. So the lovely thing about the silicone mat is if there's any spare glue, it's going to go on the mat and it's not going to get stuck to any designer series paper or grid paper or whatever, which is a really neat way of doing it. So I've got to see if I've got another piece of that green somewhere. So I've got a piece here. I'm just going to put that down like that. And then I'm going to take some spare pink. And no, I'm not. I'm going to take this piece. It's just making sure you get it all in the right order. Now I've got a piece of pink. And then lastly, I'll just put a little dot on there. Whoops. And I just want to find a bit of that green. And there's a tiny little piece here which will do perfectly just to cover that bit there. So I'm just giving a couple of seconds for most of that to dry. And then I'm just going to go around again and trim it off. And hope that it stays together. So obviously some of these little scraps you're going to chuck away, but the bigger pieces you can keep and use for another card. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to run this through the Parisian embossing folder. So this is, I've had this quite a while, but I hadn't noticed that there's this lovely little flower right in the centre. So that's going to go. Make sure you've got the raised piece underneath, and I'm going to just do it so that as far as possible I've got that flower, can you see, in the centre. So I'll just be a couple of seconds or so while I run it through the cut and emboss machine. So make sure I've got my correct embossing plate. So I have the base plate and I have plate number 4 to run it through. And there we go. And can you see how beautifully that flower has come up in the centre? I thought it was really clever of Lisa to show us that. So now I'm going to get rid of my silicone mat because I don't want to get any glue anywhere. And I'm going to get my Stampin' Seal, because Stampin' Seal is really good for quickly sticking cardstock, particularly cardstock that's been embossed, onto a card. So I'll just put this piece here and stick that on, and then stick this beautiful square on. When I saw this, I just thought it looked so elegant and just really a bit different. And the gold cardstock, which is £4.75 for 4 sheets, they're in the annual catalogue. We sell now gold and copper, gold foil sheets they're called, but they are actually thick like cardstock. Not quite, almost as thick as our cardstock, but really solid and good to use. So I'll just stick that piece down there. Now, I'm going to tie some ribbon round. Here we are. This is the polished pink. The new in colours have ribbon for each one, and this is the polished pink, and the colours are absolutely gorgeous. I suppose I could have chosen Evening Evergreen, but I think the polished pink will look really nice. So I'm going to go with that. So basically just tie your ribbon round, and like that. Make sure there's a knot in the centre. I always hold it with my little finger and just take my time to bring this round as neatly as I can over and then underneath. See if I can catch the other end, hopefully. And then I can always have a glue dot to keep that in place. So let's just get that going in the right direction. Get that off my scissors, which would help. And there's the knot. Now what I need now, I keep glue dots to hand usually. I just need one glue dot to really make sure that sticks in the right place. And the lovely thing about glue dots is that they are pretty much invisible, which is great. So I've already got a thinking of you sentiment there, which I think I'll actually put up on dimensionals to make it stand out a little bit more. You don't really need anything else on this card. That's the amazing thing about it. So I've just got to decide, do I want to put it straight underneath? Do I want to put it up there? I think I'll probably just put it to the side there. And that's fine. And then now I need to stick down this. So I actually, because there's the ribbon there, I don't want to use Tombow. So I'm just going to grab my Stampin' seal again and just eyeball where the edge is going to be and put 2 runs of the tape and stick that down firmly. And then I just need to take this basic white piece, and this I will use Tombow for, just to go. You don't need much Tombow. It has got silicone in it, so it's a good strong glue, and it has got wiggle room, which is really useful. So there you go, the finished card. Thinking of you in nice bright colours, and there's polished pink ribbon there. And then I've got nothing inside. I might put, if it was a get well card, I'd put get well soon. Or sending hugs I might put inside, just thinking of somebody. So that's the one I've just made. This is one which is very similar to what Lisa made, and this is one again with the Expressions in Ink Designer Series paper, but with the more orangey colours and pear pizzazz, and that's a bit of shaded spruce as well. Those are this is pale papaya, pear pizzazz and shaded spruce are 3 of the colours that are in this Designer Series paper, as well as obviously the polished pink. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.